Hey, hello, and welcome to the second episode of our CSS for Beginners series here on Prime Code Media. My name is Sanama Bena. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to use internal CSS to style a web page. Internal CSS is used to apply style to a single HTML page. You will do this by defining CSS inside a style element, which you should always make sure is inside the head section of your HTML web page. Now let's put this into practice. To do that, I am going to use a personal website that I created as part of our previous HTML for Beginners series. To create this HTML only website, I used Atom Code Editor, and this is where I'm going to show you how you can use internal CSS. In our previous episode, when we were discussing inline CSS, we had a challenge. We wanted to style our horizontal rules, these horizontal lines here. But now the challenge was that to do that, we would to use by using inline CSS, we would have to inject the CSS into each and every one of these horizontal rules, and that would have been a roundabout way of doing it. So internal CSS is the solution, and this is why we are discussing it right now. So using internal CSS inside my head section, I am going to include the style element. Inside the style element, I am going to specify the HTML element, which is the horizontal rule, and this will be followed by a set of curly braces. Inside this set of curly braces, this is where you are going to include your property and the value pair separated by a colon. Now, what do we want to do? How do we want to style our horizontal rule? You can style it however you want it, but what I want to try to see how it looks is this way. I'm going to include a border bottom. I want to see if this works. Border bottom, I'm going to change the size of the bottom border to 1 pixel, and I want the horizontal rule to look dashed, to be dashed. Remember, the lines at the moment are just solid, so I want them to be dashed. So let's see if this works. Let's go back to the code editor and then save our work. Okay, let's go back to our browser and refresh. This was successful. We have successfully styled our horizontal rules. By specifying the horizontal rule here, we were able to style all of our horizontal rules right here. Now let's take things a bit further and see what else we can also do using this internal CSS. What I also want to do, I want to change the color. You can see that the color of this horizontal rule, of this dashed horizontal rule, at the moment is black. Let's go back to our code editor. Inside here, I'm going to move into another line. Remember, you need to make sure that you include the semicolon. Okay, so right here I'm going to change the color. Right, let me specify the property. The property is the color separated by the colon. Now the value will be the color that I want the horizontal rule to have, and let's try gray and see how gray looks. Okay, I'm saving my work, and then I'm going to go back to my browser, and I'm going to refresh. There we go. Now the color of all our horizontal rules have changed, and we have managed or achieved this by using internal CSS. Use the internal CSS by specifying the style element inside the head section of our web page, and then inside the style element we specified the HTML element that we are targeting for styling, and then we used a set of curly braces. Inside the set of curly braces, we were able to write CSS code, and by so doing, we managed to style all our HTML elements, that is all our horizontal rules, without going into each and every one of them and inject CSS, as that would have been the case if we were using inline CSS. The challenge comes when you want to style multiple HTML pages, which means you'll have to add internal CSS to every page individually, and this will obviously take a bit of time, and there's a high possibility of errors. So there has to be a better way again of doing this. And what's the solution? The solution is external CSS, which we will discuss in our next episode. Please make sure you don't miss it. In this episode, I showed you how to use internal CSS to style HTML web pages. As I said earlier, to recap, we use the style element. The style element has to be inside the head section of the web page. Inside the style element, you specify the HTML element that you are targeting to style, and then you follow that with a set of curly braces. Inside the set of curly braces, then you will be able to write your CSS code. This is where you are going to find property and value pairs separated by a colon. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to click the bell icon to receive notifications when new videos come out. And let's code again next time. Goodbye.